I welcome you all to this page, Knowledge Without a Price. My name is Forgy Praise, and I'm a trained medical personnel. So today we'll be looking at an introduction to medical biochemistry. As it sounds, the course title is Medical Biochemistry. So we'll be looking at biochemistry in the field of health. We'll be looking at its importance. But before we go there, let us just look at the objectives for this lesson. Now it is displayed on your screen as it is. Okay, now we'll begin with an introduction to medical biochemistry. Don't forget, we are not looking at biochemistry as a whole. We are looking at biochemistry, segregating it to the aspect of the medical field or to the aspect of health. So when we look at medical biochemistry, is that branch of biochemistry that focuses on chemical substances or chemical processes and substances in the body in relations to health, wellness, and diseases. Now, when we talk about chemical processes and substances, we'll look at how the biochemistry of cells, its processes, how it functions. We'll look at enzymes. We'll look at what happens when there is a disease condition. Also, it entails diverse processes in the body as to the actions of hormones and the rest, and also talks about what happens in disease states. Like, let's say you are suffering from a mutation. Let's say you have a mutation in the hexokinase enzymes, to be precise, which may lead to diabetes. So we'll trace that diabetes right down to the molecular level, wherein we'll be able to detect a mutation in that enzymes. That is what medical biochemistry entails. We also look at the structure and the functions of cells. Now, before I proceed, Knowledge Without a Price has a website wherein all the notes which will be explained on this channel will be posted on the website. So should in case you need the link to the website, drop a comment. Thank you. So next we'll be looking at the importance of medical biochemistry. Now, first of all, medical biochemistry helps us to understand genes. Genes talks about our build-up. Medical biochemistry helps us understand genes, one, its functions, what happens if it's excited, what happens if it is mutated. Let's look at the case of gigantism or dwarfism. It's a particular gene wherein it is being excited or being mutated that leads to that factor. Now, the next thing, medical biochemistry helps us to understand at the level of the stomach, digestion, how food is digested, how it is absorbed, how the body uses it to produce energy. And we look at certain organs, what are the different processes through which these organs go through to ensure that food ingested through the mouth goes out effectively through the anus, with the body absorbing its nutrients. Medical biochemistry helps us to understand certain organs and the role in which it plays in the normal functioning of the body. Those organs will talk about the liver, the kidney, the roles it plays in excretion and other factors. That is an importance also of medical biochemistry. Medical biochemistry also helps us to understand the functions of enzymes. Now, the body can't function without enzymes. In our subsequent lessons, we'll look at enzymes and what it entails as a whole. So those are the importance of medical biochemistry. Okay, that is that for medical biochemistry. In this other sub lesson, we'll be looking at biomolecules. We can't talk about biochemistry with respect to health without talking about biomolecules. So we'll talk about biomolecules. We are talking about compounds that is found. These are chemical compounds that are found in every human being. Chemical compounds that are found in every human being, and these compounds are composed of, you have carbon, you have hydrogen, you have oxygen, you have sulfur, you have nitrogen, and you have phosphorus. So in summary, when we talk about biochemistry, we are talking of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and vitamins. So those are biomolecules, and these biomolecules aid in the normal functioning of the body. Like, for example, we can't talk about ATP without looking at the ingestion of biomolecules and the roles in which these biomolecules play also. And the human body is composed of 60% water, 15% proteins, 15% lipids, 2% carbohydrates, and 8% of minerals, which means that biomolecules aid in the normal buildup of the body. So a deficiency in biomolecules, or if we are putting out biomolecules out of the body, we see that the human body won't be in the structure which it is supposed to be. So biomolecule aids in the buildup of the body. So that is that about biomolecules. And in this other lesson, we'll look at water. Yeah, it is shocking, but water also is very important to talk about medical biochemistry. Now, don't forget that about 70% to 80% of the human body is made up of water. And in fact, let's look at the priceless component of the human body called blood. Blood is made up, most part of blood, let's say 60 to 70% of blood, is composed of water. So if we are taking out water from the body, we see that man won't, or the human body won't survive it, or the human body won't function as it should. So water is very important in the human body. So as I said earlier, water makes up 70 to 80% of the body weight, and it is found also in cells. Now we'll look at water. Water is composed of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. And water also is considered as a universal solvent. Yes, in chemistry, that was what we were told. But now we'll look at biochemistry with respect to human health. Water also is considered as a universal solvent. Reason being that it is capable of dissolving all other solutes that poses itself in the body, aiding in the normal functioning of the body. That is why when we are dehydrated, we notice that we suffer so many symptoms or so many effects on the human body. Straight away, we'll rush into the importance of water to the body, or the importance of water in medical biochemistry. Now, first of all, we understand that water is a universal solvent, as I explained earlier, dissolving all solutes. Now, the next thing is water acts as a medium for biochemical reactions. Most reactions takes place in the presence of water. Now, the next thing is that water has a very high specific heat capacity, which helps it maintains the normal body temperature of the body. That is why you notice that it is only in disease conditions or inflammatory conditions wherein the temperature either goes so high or slightly above normal. Everything being normal, their temperature can't just skyrocket because of water. Now, the next thing is water aids, or water is the main component of fluids which prevents friction at joints. Let's look at example, the synovial fluid found at the knee joint, which is made up predominantly of water. And that fluid in that joint prevents friction. That is why we can fold our limbs and extend our limbs as many times as possible without any pain, any discomfort, or anything of that sort, because water forms those joints, because water is a major component of those fluids. And water also is a major component of the cerebrospinal fluid, which is in the brain. There is a thin lining on most of the organs which has a fluid in between, and this fluid is mainly composed of water, and it prevents rupture of the organ. It should, in case of organs moving up and down or back and forth. And the next thing is that water acts as a transport medium, transporting hormones, transporting enzymes, transporting waste, and transporting even blood. So you see that the absence of water in the body poses so much risk and exposes the body to so many abnormalities. So that is that for this lesson on introduction to biochemistry. If you love this lesson, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. And as I said earlier, if you need the soft copy notes, you can drop a comment and the link to the website will be posted there, wherein you can just go there and download the notes. Thank you.